Welcome to the Art of Decluttering podcast. I am your host, Kirsty Frugia.
Oh, you sound like you could be like on the ABC podcast.
Who are you?
I'm from Triple J. I'm Amy Revell. And this is the podcast. Okay, I can't do that. We're talking about non-fiction books today, episode requested by Heather Hoffman. So thank you, Heather. We hope that we give you all some tips and tricks today on what to do with those. Well, what do we mean by non-fiction books? Let's just go straight there.
So, I don't know. What are non-fiction? Are they the ones about stories or are they the real life things?
I often have to go non-fiction. Hang on, what's fiction?
Yeah.
Fiction's made up, so non-fiction's not made.
I know. Yeah. It's silly. Okay, so we're talking textbooks, recipe books, reference books, dictionaries, thesaurus, encyclopaedias.
So we're actually talking more about reference kind of books than we are just about non-fiction, because my book's non-fiction, but it's a paperback non-fiction rather than a referencey kind of book.
Yeah.
Maybe we should actually call this episode, upon reflection, reference books.
Or we can just extend it to be talking about all non-fiction books.
No.
What did Heather want?
I think Heather wanted reference books.
Okay, let's give Heather what she wants.
Heather, we're changing the title of today's episode for you. So let's try this. Welcome to the Art of Decluttering podcast. Today we're talking about reference books. Woo!
And then we get an email saying, no, I meant all non-fiction books.
We'll do that for another one, Heather.
So we have done an episode, number 20, on books and magazines.
Yep.
So if you're wanting a broader episode, then go back to episode 20.
Yeah.
Listen to that.
We've also got episode on kids' books somewhere in there.
Yes.
Somewhere back at the start. But today we're going to talk about reference books. So those books that are really, they're not storybooks. They're not necessarily books you would read cover to cover. They're more your reference books. Like I go there for a word that I need to spell or a recipe or a topic on my textbook. Mm-hmm. So why in the world would you keep them?
Good question. Especially
given we have an internet.
1980s encyclopedias.
Yeah.
That reference a country that no longer exists.
Yes.
I've literally got no good reasons to keep most of them, really. Particularly, do you know, textbooks, bane of professional organisers' existence.
Oh, just get rid of them already.
We absolutely know you spent very, very, very hard-earned money on them because they were very expensive. You were a uni student and you couldn't even buy Maccas, let alone a textbook.
And you spent money on your course and now you're a lawyer, you're a pediatric OT, you're a whatever you are. You don't need the textbook to prove that. No. Nobody's saying in a job interview, hey, can you provide Psychology 101 from Unit 2? And no one, just stop.
Yep. Let them go.
Yeah, so that's pretty simple.
You can't even donate them.
You can't even resell them.
No, you can't resell them. You can't donate them. The only place they are good for is worm farms, composting,
firelighters,
recycle bin.
Yeah. So that's simple one. So textbooks, just stop and get rid of them. What about reference books like your dictionary, thesaurus, encyclopaedias? Do you come across many of them nowadays?
No, but I know they're out there. They're out there somewhere. So I also wanted to say, why? Like, I know you said, why are you decluttering them? And I said, I can't think of any good reason. But here's some reasons that people tell me. They spent good money on it, just like the textbooks. They make me feel good. They make me look intelligent.
Yep.
And they bring back memories, good or bad. Any other ideas of why? What are some of the reasons people have given you for why they're keeping them?
Everybody has to have a dictionary. What if I can't spell a word?
Google.
I know. The answer to
most of this.
Dictionary, thesaurus, encyclopedia, any of those kind of literary reference books.
Recipe books and even text books now.
Online.
Yep. Your friend is Dr. Google.
Today is a big day because you are going to make some decisions today that are going to fill your recycling bin and clear unnecessary stuff from your house. You do not need these things. We're not oohing and ahhing. You just don't need them. They're out of date. They're out of publication. They're
Useless.
They're just paper.
No, I don't mean to be flippant when I say useless, but why do you need to read about what a country used to be called?
Google it.
Like, you don't need to open up a 1980s World Book Encyclopedia to find information.
My dad
That's
used
what Wikipedia is for. It can give you all that information about what a country used to be called and who the last 500 presidents of that country and why there was an overthrow of that country and now they're called something else.
My dad used to sell encyclopedias door to door. How the world has changed.
Well, imagine John doing that. He would have raked it in.
I'll have to ask him.
Oh, my goodness. He is such a good salesman.
He could sell snow to the Eskimos.
He could.
So there are heaps of good ways of storing information, and the internet does it for you.
Yeah.
Yay! Missed the internet.
What about recipe books? So
I don't have... Do I have one recipe book? I do. I have the Woman's Weekly Birthday recipe book because that's a family tradition. So we go through before someone's birthday and they pick what they want.
But you're using it.
Oh,
so you can keep it.
Yeah, and we write in it who's had what on what birthdays. Like, it's a family tradition.
Clutter is not something that you use every day.
Yeah.
Or once a year, twice a year.
4 times a year.
Like,
I want a cake too.
That's not clutter.
No.
That's not what we're talking about.
But we are talking about the recipe book that you do go to 3 times a year, but you could just as easily get on your phone or iPad or print out. We are talking about that.
You can take a photo of it and create your own recipe book.
Correct.
Or you can, so some ideas I had is take photos of those recipes or take photos or bookmark them. You know, I know a lot of the time now I probably have about maybe 5 to 10 recipe books still. And one of them is a family recipe book that my mum collated 20 years ago. Needs updating. You should see how much sugar is in those recipes. It's unreal. But what was my point? That recipe books, you can, if you go to those recipe books, like you said, take out those 3 pages.
Yeah.
Or take a photo of them so that you can donate the whole book and somebody doesn't pick up the Donna Hay recipe book and go, it's missing a page.
Yeah, but I've done that. So there was a couple of recipe books that I did like, Donna Hay being one of them. Mm-hmm. I really liked her cauliflower and chicken and what's the herb that goes in it?
Sage.
No, it's one that I hadn't ever used before.
Tarragon.
It's tarragon. So I love that recipe. I just ripped that page out, put it in with my recipe book, and I got rid of the rest of the book. I did donate it. You're just missing one page.
Oh, so puzzles, you're
totally
not allowed to do
different because
that.
you can't finish the puzzle.
You can't finish the recipe without a recipe.
You can't start it though.
You go to the index and you see.
But you can't start it.
No, I
totally
disagree.
Different.
I disagree. But you can create your own recipe books. You can do a folder like you have, or you can do create a digital recipe.
Yeah.
Of just your favorite recipes, because you know how you buy a recipe book and you think you're going to cook everything in it. And look, this is not talking to those people who are
the chefs
and like amazing cooks. Like,
it's us.
My friend Megan loves cooking. Props to her. Not me. Not you.
Me. Not
you were
me.
outsourced to HelloFresh. So and again, this comes back to if you're not using it, lose it.
Yep.
If you're using it, keep it. It's cool. We want you to keep things. We are not here to tell everybody to get rid of everything.
Well, we kind of are today.
You are. We are in this episode.
That's right, but not generally.
Books. But in general, the art of decluttering does not exist to make the world one fork, one book family.
Thank goodness we are not. Do you know what really gets on my goat, though, is when people...
A lot of things.
So many things. When people have...
B, donating a puzzle with a piece missing.
You're lucky if I'm going to drive you to the airport this afternoon. That annoys me so much.
Right.
Is when people have boxes in the garage that have all the old reference books in them. And they're just keeping them in the garage, taking up space. But because they're in the garage, you're never going to go to them. Free up the space, people.
Drive your car in there.
Oh, my goodness. Like,
lower
please.
your insurances.
You'll feel so good.
You'll be able to, seriously, if you have a car that's sitting out in the driveway, sitting on the road because your garage is so full, do you know how much money you can be saving on your insurances?
Mm-hmm.
Or that you can actually claim insurance, because you won't be able to claim your insurance when your car was parked outside for 365 days, even though you said it was parked in the garage.
It's an area for growth. So if you do have books up in the roof, in the garage, in the spare room, in bookshelves, filling up bookshelves, because the cute pictures in the old, like all your old theology books, that's another good one to go to. Is my husband studied theology at Bible college. We had a whole lot of Bible textbooks. They've all gone because the internet.
You know how Amy is like larger than life on the podcast? Well, imagine having that in your home. It is phenomenal. She gets things done so quickly. She can come in and absolutely power boost any of your decluttering that you can do by yourself. You are going to do it 5 million times faster if you have Amy come alongside you to support, encourage, motivate, and keep you on track. So if you live in Melbourne or the greater Melbourne area, Amy is your girl.
So if you're ready to have a little bit of my decluttering magic in your house, email us at hello@theartofdecluttering.com.au. Send us a message on Instagram or Facebook. Any way you can get in contact with us, get in contact, because I want to come and I want to help you get freedom that you've been dreaming of. All right, back to the show.
The internet. A wonderful invention. Have you heard of it?
I think I've used it once or twice, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, when I couldn't spell a word.
You didn't get out your handy dictionary that's in your back pocket?
I was so annoyed this year when my year 7 on his book list,
They had a
as
dictionary?
well as buying him a like $1,500 computer and paying for internet access on that computer, we had to buy a freaking dictionary. There's not a chance he's used it.
No.
It drives me bananas.
Especially because it's like I think the theory behind that is they've got to learn how to turn a page.
Now, my kids read nonstop.
I know,
There's
Jessie,
no
that's not a problem
purpose in a...
Yes. So
Anyway.
why did you buy it?
Because I'm a rule follower,
I know
Kirst.
you're a rule follower, but
If someone tells me I have to
so
do...
then don't complain. Do not be complaining on this podcast about you spending $25 on a dictionary because you could have chosen not to. Stop.
Could have.
Stop. Don't want to hear it.
All right.
Can you tell this is our last episode for the day, listeners?
Yeah, this is episode 8. So we're probably back in the studio recording the next round by the time this one's aired. So that's all right.
Okay. What can you do with all these? Because some people, the recycling bin, as much as we love our recycling bin and we love our worm farms and donating to the worms, where else can you donate some of these items that some other people might want? Because some people do want this stuff.
You could donate it to an aged care facility, but ask them first.
Definitely.
And a lot of op shops will not accept reference books.
No.
Because they just take up space, are heavy and are purposeless.
And they don't move.
No.
The whole purpose of an op shop is to make money.
Move stock.
And serve people. Mm-hmm. And if books don't sell and are not serving anybody, do not put your trash in an op shop.
Yeah. So I don't know of anywhere else. Can you think of anywhere else apart from maybe an aged care facility, but maybe possibly not?
Some museums.
Oh, if you've got old school propers?
Huh?
Like, what would a museum want?
No, some museums do cultural collections.
Oh.
So some museums do like a 1980s.
Oh, that's gold. Yes.
Yeah, so
gotcha.
some collections of things may have significance to they may be significant to a museum. So they may have been owned by your great uncle George, who was a famous historian.
Yeah.
And so a museum may want that collection because it is important, because it's that person who's famous. So there's definitely museums do take collections of things. So most museums have on their website ways to donate, and you can, and it's not just monetary donations, you can donate, but you go in, fill in the form. So you have to use that magical thing called the internet.
Mm-hmm. I've heard about that.
You go on, find their donate page, and they'll say, and you fill out a form and tell them what you want to donate.
That's cool. I didn't know about this.
Yes.
Excellent.
So there is places to donate, but you have to think about, you know, just because you're selling your 1980 World Books Encyclopedia or want to get rid of them, maybe they already have a couple of hundred of them already, or have been offered a couple of hundred and they just need the one.
You've got to be okay with recycling some things.
Yes.
It's going to be okay.
You will live. You will survive. We're moving on to organising
the ones that you have kept.
The ones that we have kept.
The 3 that you have kept. Where are we going to put them?
Well, what
do
are
you want
keeping?
them in the garage?
No, I think after Amy's rant, you do not want them in the garage or in the roof.
No, but you want them somewhere where you can access them. There's no point in having them if you can't access them.
Yes. What is the value of having them stored away?
None.
No.
Negative value.
Exactly. They are taking up precious real estate in your house. Even if you have the space for it, it's still precious. White space is your friend, my friend.
Your friend, my friend.
Have them where you can access them. So if they're recipe books, think about the pantry or a bookshelf close to the kitchen. Spare room, boxes, don't put them in the garage or roof unless it is in your memento box. Because what if World Book 1983
is your favourite thing ever?
Is your favourite thing.
Yep.
Or you read it for a school project and you decided that actually I do want to move to Papua New Guinea, and you spent 50 years. Well, you wouldn't have if you read it in 1983, but you spent 30 years living in Papua New Guinea, and it was because of that book that it inspired you.
Memento.
Go for it. Keep that one. Keep the P to T World Book 1983. You do not need to keep the whole collection, and therefore it can go in your memento box.
Love it.
How's that?
I love it. I think it's really simple. Be smart where you store it because you want to be able to access it.
Yes.
Get rid of the rest.
Yes.
It's a pretty simple episode, actually.
Yep.
Excellent. Well,
the worms will be thanking us.
We're going to finish today's episode with a really simple review. Kirsty laughed when she saw that I'd included this for this episode, but I think it's awesome.
It is awesome. I laughed because...
The brevity.
This
is from Nati Balla in the US, and she says, "Great show, so helpful, thank you." I love that. With a little smiley. I know you love it. You just laugh. You're like, that's a short review. It's a heartfelt and beautiful review, and we thank you. And
thanks, Nati.
You can check out the show notes for all the details from every episode. So if you're out on the road, walking the dog, in the car, you can find everything you need. So just check out the show notes or visit our website and you can find everything there.
If you are struggling to let go of your reference books and you want to tell stories to somebody about them, consider getting Amy or I in. We would love to hear your stories about why they're precious to you. We would also love to challenge you. We would love to challenge you and get your car into the garage because they're in the garage. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. We cannot wait to be in your ears and having you laugh alongside our craziness next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.
If you've learnt something awesome today, we'd love you to leave us a review on iTunes or Facebook so others can find our podcast too.
Don't forget you can see the show notes in your podcast app or over at our website, artofdecluttering.com.au. So if there's anything you want more info on, check it out there.
If you'd like to join our supporter community, you can do so over at patreon.com/theartofdecluttering.
We hope you have a great rest of your day
and enjoy the freedom.